Secretary of Community Development and Culture, Assemblyman Ancil Dennis.
Thank you very much. Of course, let me take this opportunity to recognize the Secretary of the Division of Community Development and Culture, Councillor Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus, and Dr. Angus. Let me recognize as well the Administrator of the Division of Community Development and Culture, Mr. Richie Toppin and Mrs. Toppin. Of course, the Assistant Secretary of Health and Social Services, Mr. Sheldon Cunningham and Mrs. Cunningham. Former Administrator of this division, Mrs. Claire Davidson Williams and Mr. Williams. Other administrators in the Tobago House of Assembly. I'm not seeing any other secretaries or assistant secretaries. Other members of staff in the Division of Community Development and Culture. Manager of the Tobago Festivals Commission. Village Council presidents. Members of NGOs, members of CBOs, fellow Tobagonians. Let me first of all wish everyone a bright and prosperous and productive 2016. And I want to suggest to us that tonight is about the 3 C's: celebration, congratulation, and contemplation. And may I suggest deep contemplation. In terms of congratulation, I want to start by congratulating the hard-working secretary of this division for her astute and visionary leadership over the past year. And I dare say she deserves a lusty round of applause. But of course, apart from the policy makers, you have a group of individuals whom I consider to be the engine room of the Tobago House of Assembly, and those are the administrators. And over the last year, I think we had 2 administrators. We had Mrs. Williams, and then Mr. Toppin took over from her during the course of this year. And I really want to congratulate those 2 individuals for ensuring that the policies put forward by this administration, put forward by the policymakers within the division, were carried out and implemented effectively and efficiently. Give those individuals a round of applause. But apart from those individuals, of course, this division is made up of a number of different units, a number of different departments. And each and every single individual, each and every single department would have had to perform their duties in such a manner that the entire team, the entire division, would have really been able to collaborate and unite to ensure all the objectives were fulfilled over the past year. So therefore, I want to sincerely congratulate all the members of staff of this division for their hard work, for their tenacity, and for their effective and efficient performances in most cases over the last year. Give each and every one of them a big round of applause. But of course, tonight is about celebration. And I think there is a lot to celebrate. Because over the past year, and I'll speak specifically to the department which I'm responsible for, community development. And of course, the secretary coming after me will speak from an overall perspective. But the Department of Community Development, I think, would have impacted the lives of every Tobagonian tremendously over the last year. And of course, through the hard work of each and every member of staff, particularly I want to single out the former coordinator of community development, who is now the Member of Parliament for Tobago East, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy. And of course, Mr. Levi Wilson, who would have been holding the fort since her departure. Give them both a round of applause. And of course, due to their commitment, due to their effective leadership, the department managed to deliver on every single program that we intended to. And I want to specifically mention the vocational skills training program. And tonight, I see a young lady who is very dear to my heart, Mrs. Henrietta Murray. Of course, not young in age, but in terms of appearance, in terms of her level of vibrancy, her level of energy, she is in fact young. And she would have been one of the participants in this program. And recently I was walking through the graduation ceremony held in the month of November. And I was very much impressed. I felt proud as a Tobagonian, and I felt accomplished as one of the policymakers in this division, as part of this administration, to see the level of art and craft, the level of products that were delivered by the graduating class of this program in the year 2015. And I'm talking about the sandals, the leather slippers, the leather handbags, the curtains, the draperies, the wine. By the way, I tasted a bottle of the wine. I wouldn't tell you what happened afterwards. But I was particularly proud because over 600 Tobagonians would have graduated from this program in the year 2015. And that represented a 50% increase from 2014 participation levels. And I think the department deserves a round of applause. So of course there is much to celebrate, but in the interest of time, I cannot only talk about the aspects of our performances that we need to celebrate. And therefore, as I close, allow me to speak about the issue of contemplation or introspection. Because, of course, we have heard over the last couple months that 2016 is, in fact, going to be a challenging year. And I think all of us must recognize this. We are seeing in the news the declining oil prices, which have now reached, I think, between $30 and $35 per barrel. And we all know that this will result in a significant decrease in the revenues of this country. And therefore, the money available for us to spend has significantly declined. And this requires us as a nation, this requires us as an island, this requires us as a people to respond. And may I say that challenges, the results of challenges, depends on most times how we as individuals respond to the challenges. The response can cause the challenges to overwhelm us, or the response can also cause the challenges to allow us to grow. And I'm hoping, therefore, that as Tobagonians, as members of staff of the Division of Community Development and Culture and throughout the entire Tobago House of Assembly, that our response to the challenges in 2016 will allow us to grow. And therefore, as we contemplate, as we introspect, we must ask ourselves, did we do our best in 2015? And will that best be enough in 2016? So I'm saying to us as we introspect, we will all recognize that there are areas in which we probably did not do our best. And we'll recognize as well that there may be areas where we did our best, but our best was simply not enough. And therefore, as we look forward to 2016, I want us to have the assurance that as a Tobago people that is resilient, a Tobago people that is disciplined, a Tobago people that is productive, that once we go forward to 2016 with those attributes, then we shall indeed overcome every single challenge. And I want to close on this note, that what we are about as a Tobago House of Assembly is service. And you know, sometimes, based on my own observation, you know, we call it the public service, but sometimes it appears that service is far from the public service. And therefore, I'm saying to us that let it not be so in 2016. Let 2016 be the year that Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago responded to the challenges of the times appropriately. Let it be the year known as the year that Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago responded to the declining revenues in oil by improving our other sectors such as tourism, agriculture, and of course, right in this division, the creative industry. Let it be known as the year 2016 that we'll be able to say at the end of it, great